On February 6th, 2019, on a cold winter's night on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, I got to join my friend John Miller for his last meal in New York City at this place called Momofuku Ko. David Chang's Temple for Fine Dining has been awarded 2 Michelin stars and is helmed by Chef Sean Gray. It's got a U-shaped wooden counter with a pretty minimal aesthetic, but there is some really incredible art, graffiti style scattered around the space, and enough ingredients on display to give you some reference points. No menus at the start here. We would begin our tasting menu as soon as we sat down. Wet towel came first, don't eat that. The wine list, always give John the wine list. A snack of pomme souffle, creamy filling inside, herb powder on top to freshen it up. Essentially a super elevated potato chip. John went with a 2005 white burgundy, incredible wine, slightly funky, great acidity. This would stick with us on the counter for the whole meal. This snack is a lobster palois, also crispy shell, tender lobster inside, and a herb sauce on top. Chicken fried oyster, powders of Dijon and honey sprinkled over the top. Really, really juicy meat. Loved the play on honey mustard. It was definitely a standout. This is a dish of mackerel, dashi jelly, and pickled radish. Really fresh. I'm a big fan of oily fish of all kinds, so this was a nice way to showcase it without being too composed. Santa Barbara sea urchin with a chickpea puree and olive oil. I'm not normally a fan of monochrome dishes, but this really hit the nail right on the head. Super luxurious and smooth textures. The puree wasn't too overpowering for the urchin, and the grassy oil added the right sharp palate to make it interesting. Signature dish: smoked soft-boiled egg, potato chip, onion soubise, herbs, and sweet potato vinegar. Served next to that was sourdough with butter that's been aged in the cheese caves. Let's start here because I'm a huge fan of sourdough. This was tender enough to not tear your mouth to pieces, but it also had the flavor I crave with a bread baked like this. Butter flavor was good, but it didn't scream cheese for anybody that's wondering about that aging process. On to the egg. This is my second time having this dish. Not much to not like about this. Just look at it. If anything, I wish this was served in a bowl so that you could use your spoon to kind of make more of a composed bite, but I get plating it so that all the textures can live on their own. Dry aged beef strip, aged for 6 weeks from their case just next to us. Green peppercorn au poivre and tamarind. Really fun aromas on this, and having the acidity and beef tartare coming from tamarind was really unique and worked super well. One of their somms did end up coming by with a taste of this 1997 Morgone, which was described to us as being almost salty. I just thought it was juicy and delicious, getting into the heavier courses, so they thought we should have some red. Next up, a super fun to eat dish of razor clams, fermented pineapple dashi, basil seeds, and basil oil. This was a cold dish, which I wasn't expecting, but the clams were tender, the broth had some body, it had that sweet pineapple aroma, a little bit of umami, the basil seeds added that fun texture, and this one was definitely a highlight for me. Here is a dish of black cod, Japanese sweet potato and chrysanthemum for the garnish. The broth that she is pouring right now is made from chickpea, Korean chili, the fish bones, and the heads as well. Really tender fish, minimal presentation, not a bad dish, just not a mind-blowing one. Here is a 12-day dry-aged Muscovy duck breast, a baked and scooped piece of rutabaga and olive berry. Masterfully rendered fat, cooked on the bone, and the rutabaga was also equally impressive, being super concentrated and earthy. The sauce added just the right amount of heat and fattiness. No complaints from me on this dish. A really impressive intermezzo of a mandarin granita, just what we needed after that heavy round of protein. Another signature from Ko, this is their shaved foie gras, served with flavors of lychee, pine nut, and Riesling. This is actually a different presentation than the first time that I had this at Ko. There aren't many combos that work together as well as this one does, though, and there's a reason that it's been on the menu for ages. Yes, it is messy, but it is oh so delicious. Last up, a mandarin tartatin with the choice of which cheese we'd like grated over the top. An 18-month aged Vermont cheddar on the left, a Gouda from the Netherlands on the right. We did 1 and 1, of course. It is such a fun way to present winter citrus, in my opinion. They were sweet and chewy. They worked surprisingly well with the cheese, and believe it or not, that was our last course. Inside the box here, a takeaway that we would eat on the road the next day for breakfast.
Did you get to try this?
Oh.
It's gonna be my breakfast.
Blondie.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Sweet potato hoisin. White chocolate. Hoisin is a seasoning paste. That's one of the better takeaways I've ever had. Thanks for breakfast, Momofuku Ko.
Really, really delicious without trying to be too fancy. Total for the two of us came to $729.46. Service is included on that tab as well. Really laid back and casual service while still being attentive, an execution-focused tasting menu that isn't trying to be too flashy, and a hip-hop grunge atmosphere that feels like it's made for people like me. I was really impressed by this second experience at Ko. Where should I go eat next? Get some color on that like button if you enjoyed this video. My name is Justin Khanna, and I hope you have a good one.